Well, all right now, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be cleaning out my chimney flue pipe, and it's about that time of year. We've done this before, but it never hurts to raise the awareness on having a good clean chimney. You will get a little spark up in your chimney fire there if you don't clean that out at least once a year. I have let it go in the past and it started kind of sparking up on me a little bit, flaring up there. So I like to keep them clean now. And you can do this by yourself. Here briefly, I'll go over the tools that I'm using and kind of explain why I'm using what I'm using. And I'm going to be making some changes in my tools here and my rods. So stay tuned. I'll talk about the rods here coming up. I'm going to buy some new rods and I'll put a link to that probably. If you want to look at these rods and purchase them, they're pretty affordable. So for anywhere between, I don't know, you could spend $50 to $80 and get a nice set of chimney rods and do this yourself. The rods are all over the internet, and I would recommend getting them and doing them yourself for as long as you can get away with. What I've found is that you can sweep this thing yourself about once a year and be good to go. So that's what we're getting into today. We've done this before on the channel, but we're going to raise the awareness. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Watch some videos if you subscribe. That's the important thing, is watching the darn videos. So let me give you a little roundup on the tools that I'm using today, and I'll kind of talk about why I'm using what I'm using. You don't have to use exactly what I'm using, but we'll talk about that right now. Okay, so here we are now. I've got the fireplace opened up and I got the chimney flue opened up, and I had a little bit of stuff spill out there. That's what it looks like right now. That's how much debris kind of just fell out when I opened it for the first time this year. Now, these are my chimney rods right here, and those are, I think, fiberglass rods. They're a sturdy rod, and they don't bend as much as some of the other rods. You can see that rod there. It's kind of like a fishing pole, a pretty stout fishing rod there, and I think they say you don't want to bend those by more than 45-degree angles. So if you got real sharp angles in your flue pipe, you don't want those fiberglass rods. They make some other rods, and I'm gonna show you that. I'm looking into getting a V-Vor set of rods, and it comes with the brush and everything. So the thing that I need to do though is I have to measure how long my chimney is from the bottom all the way up to the top of the chimney. So that's what I'm going to do today. I was going to go ahead and order those rods, but the problem is I need to measure to make sure I have enough length on those rods, because I'm pretty sure this is 2 sets of fiberglass rods. I bought them once, and I don't know whether they're 30 feet or whatever, but it wasn't enough rod, so I had to buy another set to get all the way to the top of my chimney. I don't want that to happen again, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure how many rods I use today, because there's a couple left over when I'm done every year. So I was going to have to measure anyways. So for this year, I figured I'd go ahead and use these at least one more time before I buy new rods and measure and make sure I get a good job done there. So I've had to kind of modify these rods, and I know it's redneck engineering, but I got a bolt stuck into one end so I can get my drill or impact on there, and that bolt just kind of happens to fit just right in there. And I've been using weed eater line, which is very similar to the nylon line that they have on some of these brushes. It will break off if you let it go and use it too many times. So I'm not going to recommend doing that. That is a redneck engineered way. I'm just going to tell you, I know it's not great. That's why we're buying the new rods. I got those engineered on there with duct tape, and it works. They spin around real fast and spread out, and it's been doing a really good job for me now. So I'm going to use it one more time and go ahead and get it done this year before I buy new rods. And I will put a link for those V-Vor rods, maybe 2 different lengths in the comments there or on the video somewhere. So I'll put a link for a couple different sets of rods if you want to look at those. And they're a lot more flexible, and they have a snap together. These have to be screwed in. So one end will have, on these fiberglass rods, you got threads on one end and it screws into the female end on the other end. And that takes a lot more work to screw those in and out every time you connect and disconnect a rod as it advances up the chimney. And they can get tight. You got to oil them and everything. So I think the V-Vor rods, they just have a snap together construction where they just have 2 pins that slide in and snap together, and it's a lot easier to take apart. So we'll put a link to that. I don't want to hear about my rods. I know it's not professional, but you've heard my story there. The next thing, I've been using an impact wrench, and those are just my sockets in there. And the V-Vor and a lot of these sets of rods, you're just supposed to use a cordless drill, or you could use a corded drill. But I have actually burned up some drills on some other projects using a hole saw, and I burned up 2 really nice drills. One of them was corded and one of them was cordless, lithium ion. And I was using a hole saw, and it started smoking. The brushless motor burned up in them from having that much torque on it. So I don't want to ruin my drill, because those fiberglass rods are heavier than these lighter weight flexible rods in these other kits. Those are some heavy rods. It takes a lot of torque to turn them. So I go ahead and I use an impact. You can use a cordless drill or a corded drill. It's a lot easier. And then I have to plug that into an air compressor for what I've got going on right now. I don't have a lithium ion impact. And that air compressor is about as small as I would recommend for a homeowner. That's a 4.5 gallon DeWalt, and that's a really nice compressor. It's quiet. I have I think it's a 17 or an 18 gallon, another one, and it's about twice as loud. But unless you're using a nail gun, that's about as small as I would recommend really for a homeowner. Those little nail guns are just kind of like a little pressurized fart in a can there, and they just squirt out a little air. So they just don't last very long. They got to run all the time and recharge. That's a nice quiet compressor. I like it a lot. It's easy to drain, easy to handle. You can pick it up. I carried that upstairs. So that's what I'm using there. But like I said, you don't need all of that. You just need a drill or a cordless drill for these other kits. They're a lot more lightweight, and this is just a system that I've got going now. And then the other thing is I got a drop cloth. You're going to want to hang something in front of your chimney to keep all that dust from spilling out into your room. And I had another one somewhere, and I like to have like a curtain so I could go right in the middle and have 2 cloths with a path. I cannot find my other junked up cloth. I got a navy blue one somewhere, and I cannot find the thing. When I find it, I'll go, that's what I did with that. It'll be obvious to me at that point in time, but I have no idea. So I'm going to try to make do with one drop cloth, and then you'll have to kind of sweep up and clean everything there. And I put some towels down on the floor, and I'll run those in a line because I kind of connect those rods that are hard to unscrew. They'll be in a long line, and I'll run that thing up the chimney and back and forth. So I like to have some room, like a little runway here for those dirty rods to slide on. And that's really about it. I got a couple wrenches here to grab those rods and unscrew them and twist them and help me to do that. So I hope that helps with the tool overview. You can see my system, and you've heard the story there. You know about my rods and the new rods that I'm wanting to get and everything. So let me do that, and then we'll measure how long my chimney is, because it's a tall one. It goes up 2 stories and sticks up way up over the house and goes through the attic. So you're looking at least 30 foot of rod. Let me get all fired up here, and we'll be right back with you. We'll be cleaning this chimney. All right, now everybody, I found another drop cloth. I'm just going to have to go with that. It's best to have, for me anyways, I like to have something right in the middle. If you have one going across the side and you got to go in through the bottom or something, you can see where that's a problem. I like to have a nice entryway right in here in the middle, and that way I can have an area to work and still block most of that dust coming out. So we got that going. I still am disappointed I can't find my blue sheet, but oh well, sheet happens. That's what they say. So here we go. This is my little makeshift brush, and you can see when it spins, it twirls around there pretty good, and it'll knock that dust off the sides there. I'm sure I got spider webs and everything, a little bit of everything going in there right now. But you just connect these rods and get it going. So enjoy the show. I'm not going to keep talking as I'm doing this. And hopefully these sheets don't fall down, because I got some 30-pound, 25-pound weights up there, and I don't want those falling. So here we go. Once you get in the rhythm of this thing, it goes pretty fast, pretty easy. Now I think you want to have your drill on tighten only, because if you hit that impact on loosen, these rods can come undone on you. You don't want that. So let's put this up the hole here. That's what she said. There we go. So we're in. And you just start working her through there now. Work it all the way up. Now, another note, you do want to be gentle as you're doing this. Don't just start ramming it up in there. You can damage the inside of your chimney pipe flue there. So you want to just be smooth with it and kind of gentle. And if it gets hung, back it up and try to work it around that hung area. Don't sit there and cram it and do it real hard, because you can damage, especially the joints where those pipes come together. If you hit those joints, you can knock your pipes apart and all kinds of stuff. So go easy on her now. All right, everybody, there we go. I'm sweating and that's hurting my back leaning over like that. My back does pretty good once I'm out and working hard and everything gets loose, but to do this and bend over that long kind of hurts. I got all my wires back. I had 3 on each side. We're good. No break-offs there, no problem. So that does a good job of doing that. I had a couple extra rods, so now I'll be able to measure my chimney length by measuring how many rods I used. See how much length I need if I buy a new set. Every year I say I should go ahead and get a new one, and I never do. Now, the problems I'm running into, I don't know if you want to hear about it or not, but I can't find the right setting on a brush, a chimney brush, to fit these rods. Most of them are listed at a 1/4 NPT, which is I think a 1/2 inch wide. It says it's a 1/4 inch NPT thread, but it also says that it's 1/2 inch wide. Now that looks about right. I think they're standard, but there is also 2 different sizes at least of these things. So I'm not positive on the thread, the size of this thing. And all the brushes that I'm seeing are male brushes. They have the threads on the brush, which would screw into the female end of one of these rods, if you know what I'm saying. So that means I would have to turn this around and do it in reverse. Then on the back of this, you would have a male end, and I don't have anything to spin that with now. You can maybe clamp down on it with a drill, or you'd have to find a nut that would fit on there so you could get something on that nut and spin it. The third problem that arises when I think about that is my chimney flue down here. I think it's a 6-inch pipe. I haven't got in and stuck a tape measure in it yet, but I'm pretty sure it's a 6-inch. That's the standard. And what happens is my flue, it's just a plate that spins. It's a plate that just twists. When you turn that flue over and open and close it, a plate just twists either vertical or flat and closes it. So when you open the flue, you only have 3 inches or less of room to fit a brush in there. Well, all of the brushes that I'm seeing are big bushy brushes, and they're quite stout. Even the nylon, the ones with nylon bristles that don't have steel bristles, they're quite stout. I mean, they're really firm. So you have to, I'm a little concerned about squeezing a 6-inch around brush into a 3-inch hole to get it past the flue to get it started. A lot of people go to the top and use it from the top down, and you don't have to worry about that. So to do it from down here, you need one of those brushes with the long nylon strings and all of that, and those all have different fittings on them. They don't have the NPT nylon pipe. I'm saying nylon because that's a PVC nylon pipe thread, or whatever the hell that stands for, NPT threads. Now, if you went to some chimney store or a fireplace and hearth and home or something store, they may have a bunch of them there. You might be able to find something, or they could maybe order you something. I just like to do everything from home and have it sent right to me. So for what these rods cost, I'll probably just go ahead and get a whole new set for $60 or $70, and that'll solve all of my problems, and I'll be able to clean my chimney forever. So next year, I'll probably have a new set of rods, unless I just get lazy and say, oh, the heck with it, I don't want to spend $60, and I'll keep using this, because as you can see, it works. So let me take all this down, and I'll show you how much soot came out of there. We'll see what we did, how much cleaned out this year. 1 second. Okay, now everybody, thanks for joining me today. That's all the ash I got out of there, and I was really surprised. It didn't look like it was very dirty at all. Normally I have a little bit more ash than this. There's a little bit of a mounded up pile, or creosote, or whatever, the buildup, whatever you want to call that. So that was not dirty at all, considering how much wood I burned last year. I burned a lot of wood last year. You know, I have plenty of firewood, and I burned a lot of fire, so that just goes to show I had some good hot, dry burning wood. And that's all that was in my chimney, so that's not a problem. I mean, I ran it up there and cleaned it and ran it down. Usually there is more than that, so had some good burning wood last year, and I'll just kind of sweep that up out of there and clean it up. And we're done. I'm ready to burn here. I think we got some nights in the 30s coming up, so we are ready to burn. Get that going now. The other thing is on my rods, I did the math, and there was 8 48-inch rods, and that comes out to 32 feet even is what I needed. So yeah, believe it or not, it was a perfectly even number, and that gets it done just about perfect. So I think I'm going to go with that 39 foot of Vevor rod kit with the sweepers that come with it and everything. And I will put some links for maybe a 30 foot or a 23 foot in case you want to buy one. I do get a little bit of affiliate off of those links, so check them out, go look at them, buy some rods, clean your chimney this year if you need one. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.